All right, welcome to Critical Weight Theory. That's the name of this podcast. But I'm also doing an interview for pophorror.com, so it's like a two for one deal, I guess. So some of my questions will be about, your music and your album, but I'm going to have like half of them be about, of course, the classic horror movie that you're known for.
The Thing.
Yeah,
John Carpenter's
I'm
The
sure
Thing.
I'm sure you expected that, right?
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'd do anything for John.
I mean, if I was in a hit movie, I'd be like talking about her all the time too. So,
I
I mean,
talk about it.
as it is, I talk about the interviews I do all the time. I think I annoy people. Like I tell people, oh, I interviewed Neil deGrasse Tyson. A lot of people probably think I'm lying about that, but it's true. And
And
stuff
what
like.
was shit, what was he like to interview?
Oh, he was as good as you would want him
Brilliant
to be,
man.
to be honest. Like I had I had no problem talking with him. It was professional, and he seemed like one of those people I knew like my entire life, that sort of thing.
Really, he's
Some
super
people just
smart.
have that personality.
Yeah.
But anyway, I might as well get to the like pop horror questions here. So,
Okay.
do you approach songwriting the same way that you approach acting?
I would say I probably do in that it's a creative process. So there's this space you have to get in with yourself alone that is between you and your kind of shadow self. And you have to come up with a story. So in that regard, it's the same as a lot of time, as a young actor and as a director too. I spend a lot of time with the script alone,
Sure.
studying and going over the words. What am I missing? And looking up politically, socially, what's going on at the time, and all the amalgamation of the events that create this thing called a play or a movie. Now in TV and stuff like that, it's just get in, hit your mark, say your lines, and get the fuck out as fast as possible. Because like The Punisher or uh, Homeland or any of these TV shows, they have to move at such a rapid rate to keep. It's like an assembly line. Whereas a film like John Carpenter's The Thing, you get 2 weeks to rehearse it. Okay, that's a luxury like you can't
Sure.
even imagine for an actor. And you get to find a character and create relations. How do I feel about this one? How do I feel about that one? How does he feel about me? And John engendered a beautiful atmosphere for us to work in. But yeah, I'd say I approach songwriting in the same way, just as passionately, that's for sure, just as
Sure.
fervently as I did it. I know I'm 71 and it's like, are you out of your fucking mind going out on the road and trying to play music? Maybe I am out of my mind, but uh, that's all right. The point
As long as
is
you're out
I'm
of your mind
driven.
in a healthy and creative way,
Right, right.
it's
I'm not out murdering anyone. I'm just trying to
yeah.
get people to sing along with me. That's all.
Yeah. And with the group name of Heartbreak Waites, what was that about?
So John Goodman, the actor, is a mate of mine, and we came up together. And we actually did a movie together way back in 1982 for TV, a prison movie. And so we spent a couple weeks in Dallas together, and we closed down more than one juke joint while we were there. We were young, wild. And then he took off to go to the Mardi Gras right after, and he wanted me to come with him, but I didn't. Anyway, he's a friend of mine. And I used to have this line when I would try to pick up girls when I was younger. I would say, don't fall in love with me, baby. I'll break your heart. And so I had a punk band in the 80s called the Push Ups, where I would take my shirt off and do one-handed push-ups as part of the act. And John Goodman was at the bar, and he went, "Heartbreak Waites, Heartbreak Waites. Let's hear it for Heartbreak Waites. And now, 35 years later, I went, I'm going to name my band Heartbreak Waites.
That makes sense.
That's that's the evolution of that story.
And
I'm
were there
looking at all this
specific?
fan mail. Wait, I haven't answered my fan mail. Look at there's stacks of it. I'm just a terrible person. Don't they realize I'm busy? I got to answer it. I've got to answer it. It piles up, and I procrastinate, and But
Were there?
listen, let's look at this. This will blow your mind if I can find it. This one guy writes me a letter. He sends me a fucking $1. Here's the $1. I get $50 for an autograph. He sends me a fucking $1. Cheapskate. No picture. And he writes me a letter and he says, "Hey, Mr. Waites, I love your work. I saw you in this. I saw you in that. It's too bad about Mayor Mamdani." I went, who the fuck? First of all, let me tell you something. He's doing an amazing job. The streets are paved. No one's touched them in years. The parks are clean, and the crime is down. I mean, the guy's really doing a good job. And for someone to make a judgment like that he lives like in Illinois or someplace, I feel like writing him back and telling him to go fuck himself. You know what I mean? What's wrong with socialism? You pay into Social Security, right? That's socialism.
Yep.
Anyway,
Well, it's a variety of it anyway.
It is a form. But anyway, it's nice to talk to you, Wade. And that's really interesting. I have to look up that Phrygian scale and find out what that's all about. Yeah.
Were there specific life experiences that kind of shaped the core of the album?
Specifically, it was heartbreak. We've all had our heart broken. And it's just sort of a given in life. And it could be romantic. It could be fraternal. It could be parental. It could be someone breaks your heart that you're very close with and that you've opened yourself up and felt as if you've given them the best of you. And then all of a sudden, there's a knife in your back. And it's like, et tu, Brute? And that experience transpired with a certain group of people. I don't want to mention who, but and I was just, first of all, in shock that they would betray me in such fashion. And secondly, I was like, well, how long are you going to sit around here and feel badly about this? So I picked up the guitar. I said, you can write, can't you? And you can play the guitar and you can sing. Write a song about it. So I wrote a song called Heartbreak Waites based on that experience. And that had triggered many years of writing that I have compiled since the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, there was like nothing to fucking do. And I got really, really sick. And, they were going to put me on a ventilator. And I was like, no, man, if I'm going to cack, I'm going to do it right here in my apartment. And I ate a chunk of raw garlic and sweated it out one night and saw colors, and the sheets were soaking wet. But when I came through that, I said, I want to do two things before I die. One is I want to write and direct my own movie. The other is I want to be a successful musician. And whether or not I did achieve making the movie, and it's really good. And unfortunately, the world of distribution in film has become like the Wild West was in 1882. You're lucky if you get your film shown at all.
Yeah.
Now you have to pay distributors. I mean, I didn't, but they're supposed to pay you. That's the idea. And then they publicize it.
You're always having so much competition.
There's every kid with an iPhone.
Yeah. Even if you've got great stuff, there's other great stuff that other people, there's
Yeah. I mean, there is the competition factor, and there's the production value. I made it for $150,000, and you can only do so much with $150,000, and we're sort of used to this, Netflix as a bar for quality. Generally, the production quality, quantity may not. I mean, though the actual content may not be good, the production quality is very high. The same with Amazon Prime. Hulu, Disney, they have money.
Yeah.
A guy comes along and makes a movie for 150 grand. People are like, are you fucking kidding me? That's impossible. But I did it, and I did it according to union rules, and I don't know how. I have Somebody Up There Likes Me. Isn't that a movie with Paul Newman?
I believe so, yeah. I can't say I've seen it, but I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Great movie. He plays a boxer.
So
Underrated actor, Paul Newman.
What drew you toward the Americana and folk rock as a music style, and how did that genre or those genres help you tell stories for the album?
That's just what, like, the first time I started playing out, this guy that was like a booking agent said, this is what you're playing is called Americana. I said, oh, because I just wrote and played my songs, about what was going on. Or I also wrote a musical. I was hired as a playwright to take extant material. Robert Louis Stevenson wrote 3 plays. And although they're not very good plays, they're sort of these elaborate melodramas, but he was a great writer. So I was hired to take one of his plays and turn it into a musical comedy, which I did, and it was one of my first jobs out of writing school. And then we went around looking for composers, and we couldn't agree on, because I wanted it to be rock and roll music set in the 1820s in France. So a period piece with rock music, contemporary music anyway. And he didn't want that. He wanted a classical approach. So we ended up, the option ran out and the rights kicked back to me. So I wrote the music for it. And I had a reading of it done on the West End in London with Kelsey Grammer as the lead, and the greatest West End singers. You can't even imagine how talented these people picked up songs like you pick up a piece of paper. I would play it for them once. They'd be like, okay, no problem. It was up, and I had a musical director, and it was quite a highlight in my life as a musician. They made my songs sound better than they were.
Better than you thought they would sound. Yeah.
It was great. But so it's just a thing, it's like what's going on in the world politically, and that they're trying to take down my black and brown brothers and sisters, that I saw the civil rights riots out my picture window as a 5-year-old boy. I saw what the African American had to do to get his rights. And I learned as a young man living in New York, a lot of black people looked out for me, mate. A lot of fucking black guys stood up by me in my time of need, helped me out many, many more times than I can even count. Righteous people. I'll give you an example, a recent one. In 2021, the pandemic's finally over. I'm trying to get back into shape. I'm jogging back from Central Park, but it's like in February. I'm flying down 3rd Avenue as fast as I used to really be fast, but this was 2021, so 5 years ago. I hit a patch of ice and tear my hamstring. Flat down on my face. I'm living in this neighborhood 26 years. Every single person walks. They know me. They walk right as if nothing. I'm laying there screaming. A young black couple just come out of church. You could tell. Came over and said, "Sir, can we help you? Can we help you? Can we get you an ambulance?" Anyway, they just needed to walk me to my building. But that's a recent example.
Sure.
And I could give you 1,000 more. So I'm not going to stand by without using whatever platform I can muster to speak up for this injustice. I'm not any big, great movie star or anything like that. I'm just a guy. I got a little talent and I got something to say and I'm going to say it. And I
And
hope people,
that's also a part of your musical message. You've got some songs that deal with political topics, of course.
yeah, I got to be careful with the band. See, so with them, I only play a couple of let's call it, deranged Trump syndrome light. When I play by myself, I let it all out. My solo shows, because one of my guys, I don't want to jeopardize anyone else, with my observations of what I see happening and what is happening in our country. There's 75,000 people locked up in detention and only about 10% of them are actual illegals.
Yeah.
They murdered that
As,
woman,
as the word that the
Renee
right
Good.
wingers use. As
They
like
they,
the
mur-
catch.
they shot that woman in the face for
Oh
no
yeah, yeah,
reason,
in Minnesota.
and they murdered that Alex Preddy.
Yeah,
And the only
Minnesota.
reason why we mention them is because they're white. They murdered black people too, but they're not in the news.
And that's also in the upper Midwest where I live. I live in Michigan, but Minnesota's pretty close, so it
Where in
seems
Michigan?
I live in the Upper Peninsula, like the
Wow.
part that no one ever talks about.
Jim Harrison country. Do you
Oh,
know the novelist Jim Harrison?
I'm not really that familiar. I mean, I should because I was a literature major, but no,
Oh,
it doesn't ring a
he
bell.
wrote all about that area up there. They call him the contemporary Hemingway.
Okay.
Legends of the Fall. They made a movie of one of his short stories called Legends of the Fall. I think many years ago.
That, yeah.
Jim Harrison was a novelist from that area, a real hunter, fisherman type, like went out and killed whatever the fuck you kill out there in the wilderness.
Yeah.
And he, cooking like raccoon stew, that kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
A real outdoorsman. And one eye was gone. He was a heavy hard drinker, fighter, barroom fighter, but an amazing novelist. And he describes the area, I believe, or it's quite untouched by civilization.
Well, relatively so. I mean, we've got Walmarts and stuff. I mean, no place is completely untouched by, or very few places are completely untouched.
Oh, okay.
Relatively so.
But it's known for its fishing and hunting and wildlife.
Sure, yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, I know that area. Yeah.
And let's see, what else do I got here? I've got some questions written down.
And this is an audio podcast, right? No one's going to actually see me.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, I could make it video if you're all right with that.
Yeah, that's okay with me. Okay. I mean, it might get more viewers.
So you've been on the screen. You've been on the screen before, so.
Yeah, that's why when you said whenever you're ready, I'm like used to action.
So like when it comes to me, I might be concerned about somebody seeing a zit on my nose or something like that.
Yeah, right. But we actors, we have to like put skin cream on our face and take care of ourselves.
Going back to the thing, what was it like seeing like the effects, the special effects and stuff being put into place and coming to life on the screen?
When I first watched it, Wade, I didn't pay any attention to that at all.
Yeah.
Way back, in 1982 or whenever it was released. I didn't even notice them. I just thought I was terrible. That's all I could think about was I'm the worst actor in the world and I'm going to go home and stick my head. I didn't feel I was doing the job I should have. And a lot of actors were like that. We're very self-critical and solipsistic, self-absorbed people by nature. then when I saw it later and saw what a fine film it was, that John had this vision, and it was the photography and the music and the whole story. And it's so much like he predicted the future. You know, are you really talking to Thomas G. Waits, or are you talking to a artificial representation, a hologram of him? I mean, that's what he nailed, you know, what is that, 45 years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
That's called prescient, my friend. That's called seeing what's coming.
Yep,
It's
that movie
brilliant. It's a
definitely.
Brilliant film.
Yep, it's about
Scary.
the paranoia and also just lack of trust, but you're forced into a situation where you can't trust somebody.
And you're isolated. I think
Sure.
it's great. You know, and
And
John Carpenter.
nowadays
Hmm?
it's like you can be isolated without being physically isolated because the isolation is in your mind. And I'm sure that's always been true, but it seems like it's more true now than in the past.
Well, since the pandemic, certainly. We were damaged evolutionarily. We lost I know the kids from that time period because I'm an acting teacher. And the kids from that time period, Gen Z, whatever they call it, you know, they lack interpersonal skills. They don't know how to, like, sometimes I'll call them and they won't call me back, or I'll text them and they won't text me back. And then I'll see them and they'll be like, hi, how you doing? Like, they're completely oblivious to what it is to be interpersonal with someone because they are conditioned by the screen. And I feel badly for them. I feel they were left out.
Kind of robbed of some social opportunities, you might say.
That's exactly what I would say. I couldn't have put it better myself. So then later, after I got out of my own head, I watched it and I thought it was a great film. Then I was in England a couple of years ago. They brought me over to Manchester to do an autograph signing. You know, I'm always pushing my music. So they said, there's a bar up here. Come do a screening of the movie and you can play it in the bar downstairs. I'm like, I'm in. So I watched it that time a couple of years ago, and I just focused on the effects, and they were astonishing.
Yeah, yeah.
If you've ever watched a baby being born, like in real life,
Sure.
it was not dissimilar. It was very primordial, grotesque, and yet beautiful simultaneously.
Yeah, and it's got that it adds something strange to the atmosphere of the movie too, because you've got the paranoia and the panic and the some in some ways quirky
And he
characters,
had
and then
all these really good New York and LA actors. Like he had a
sure,
really great ensemble, and you believed that we were who we said we were. And you had have that in juxtaposition with this like celebration of special effects. Yeah, the last ones to be done before computers.
sure. And did you have any idea that this movie would be such a success, like a lot of
No,
people's favorite horror movie all these
I,
years later?
I,
Yeah,
you could, I forget what the expression is, not bowl me over with a baseball bat before I would have thought that. I mean,
sure.
it got panned at the box office. My agent was
Yep,
like, for Tom, forget about The Thing. Okay. The Thing is going nowhere. It's nothing. This is what we want to focus on next. It was like literally something I thought was just dead in the water. And then with the advent of VHS and then the internet, it exploded. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy because he lost a lot of work. He had 3 movies lined up to do, one right after the other after he finished The Thing. And he was actually working on one of them and was writing the music for it and going to direct it. and they fired his ass right out of there, and 2 other projects too. There's a book called Prince of Darkness. John paid the price, but he believed in his vision.
Sure.
And you really got to respect people like that. He clung to what he wanted that movie to be, and he made it the movie he wanted it to be. What he always said is, if you make something beautiful, artistically, they will eventually find it. They may not find it when you want them to. But he's a great guy, man. I mean, it's all over. The thing expanded. There's all of us talking about how much fun it was like having a party every day and getting paid for it. Really, that's what it was like. All we
Well,
did was laugh.
there are some people who say that John Carpenter has like an attitude. So what do you say to those people who like?
Well, everybody has
I'm
a
sure
bad day. He's not a people person.
yeah, yeah,
He's happy when he's making movies and doing stuff. Then you see when he plays his music. I went to see his band, and if he's helping you out, as a person, he came and spoke to my acting class, mate. He came and talked to my acting class, gave them advice, and he didn't have to do that.
sure.
It was very, very generous of him, and that was right when the thing was starting to get noticed, like 1999. It was starting to get noticed again. And he is an introvert by nature. And that paranoia stuff is really something that he struggles with personally. So when people get into his face and kind of expect something from him, he's not like me. Like, I have that kind of personality. I'm an actor. I deal with situations all the time. Spontaneously, I can improvise on a dime. You can put me in front of 50,000 people with no script, and I'd still figure something out on the spot, right? Because I'm an extrovert by nature. John is the opposite. He is way deep inside, like a writer.
Sure, sure.
And so people expect, they're like, who's the real thing? He's like, go fuck yourself,
Yeah, that's something that's even easy to figure out or something. Like he would want to spoil it anyway.
He wouldn't want to tell you anyway. No, I can't. I can't. Wait, I can't talk enough about John.
It's kind of like revealing the KFC secret recipe or something like that.
Right. I mean, come on.
You could bash KFC all day long, but you got to respect their recipe secret.
Right. I haven't eaten meat since 1976.
Wow. And let's see, I've got another. When audiences leave Heartbreak Waites performance, what do you hope stays with them most? Like the stories, like the emotions, or the sense of a connection and healing in the music?
The connection. I want to connect with people. I want to move people to feel. I want to make them laugh. I want to make them feel. I want to inspire them to feel. That's my objective.
Yeah, it
To
seems like
break through
pretty...
that mask, the mask that we all wear. This is what I want the world to think I am, to let the mask down and let their heart out.
Kind of like
be free.
The Grinch, his heart grows like multiple sizes toward the end of the movie. That's kind of what you would like.
That's what I would like.
Well, it's actually been 29 minutes. That flew by.
It's fantastic.
Fast. Yeah. So
I'm glad.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, please purchase my album on Apple Music. It's not on Spotify because they advertise for ICE, but it is on Apple Music. You can download it. I don't know what it costs, but it's a really good album. We took a long time to make it. It's perfectly produced. Tony Daniels, my guitar player, recorded, engineered, and produced it. So it's, from a technical standpoint, it's as near perfect as you can get. And I think some of the songs are really great. There are a lot of love songs on there, a lot of
Okay.
love songs to my ex-wife, and they're quite beautiful. And the harmonies are really like 60s type harmonies. So it's cool. And so if you can't come to the show on June 7th in New Hope at the City Winery at 2 o'clock, then please pick up the album Heartbreak Waites and follow me on Instagram at Heartbreak Waites,
All right.
WAITES.
Well, it's been great talking to you. I never expect to interview like people involved in movies and TV, so it's always nice when it happens. Um,
Yeah, I've been doing it since 1977. I just got my new SAG card. It's just member
oh,
since 1977.
and I just got my
Crazy, huh?
new SAG because I'm getting older every day.
Funny. All right, well, take care.
Yeah. Have a good one. Okay. Yeah. Bye bye. Yep.